My dear friend. Tonight, let us wander into the quiet valleys of the heart, where joy and sorrow grow side by side. We will speak of love. Not the shallow version you find in movies, not the sugary phrases of love songs, but the love Carl Jung pointed to, the love that awakens, wounds, and transforms. Love is both the sweetest blessing and the most bitter teacher. It lifts us, but it also breaks us. And perhaps, it must break us in order to make us whole. Why does love hurt? Why does something that begins with laughter and light so often end in tears? The answer is not simple. It is hidden in the depths of the psyche, in the very architecture of our soul. Carl Jung saw love not merely as an emotion between two people, but as a meeting of unconscious forces. When we fall in love, we are not just meeting another person, we are meeting an image, a symbol, a hidden part of ourselves reflected in their eyes. Every man carries within him an invisible image of the feminine, what Jung called the anima. Every woman carries within her an invisible image of the masculine, the animus. And when we fall in love, we project these inner figures onto another human being. Suddenly, they appear radiant, perfect, almost divine. It feels like destiny. But in truth, it is our own unconscious longing painting them with colors they may not truly possess. This is why love feels so intoxicating. It is not only that we have met someone. It is that we have met ourselves, hidden within them. But sooner or later, reality arrives. The perfect image begins to crack. The person we loved as a god or goddess shows their human flaws. And when the illusion fades, pain sets in. This is the wound of love. Not because love is false, but because love forces us to see the difference between projection and reality. It forces us to see not only who the other person is, but who we are. And in this confrontation, between illusion and truth, between dream and reality, the heart bleeds. But Jung reminds us, this pain is not meaningless. It is a sacred pain. It is the suffering that invites us to grow, to mature, to integrate what was hidden inside us. Love hurts because it is a mirror. And mirrors, though they reveal beauty, also reveal scars. Imagine for a moment. You are standing by a river. The water reflects your face. At first, you see yourself clearly. But then the wind stirs, ripples break the surface, and suddenly the reflection is distorted. Love works like this river. It shows us both the truth and the distortion. It reveals both our beauty and our chaos. Many people fear this. They run from it, thinking, if love hurts, then love must be broken. But Jung would whisper, do not run. Stay with the pain. For the wound is where the light enters. To love is to be wounded. But to be wounded is to be opened. And through this opening, the soul begins its journey toward wholeness. You see, love is not only about finding the right person. It is about discovering the lost parts of yourself. Every attraction, every heartbreak, every longing is the psyche trying to speak, trying to remind you of what you have forgotten within. This is why so many people repeat the same patterns in love. They are not unlucky. They are simply being called to face a lesson they have not yet learned. The same type of partner appears, the same arguments unfold, the same endings repeat, because the unconscious is insisting, look here. Here's your wound. Heal it. So, my friend, when love hurts, it is not a punishment. It is an initiation. An initiation into the deeper mystery of who you are. Love, for Jung, was never just romance. It was a path of individuation, the process of becoming whole. And becoming whole requires facing not only the joy of connection, but also the agony of separation. It is in heartbreak that we learn resilience. It is in longing that we discover the depth of our desire. It is in disappointment that we finally learn to see the other person, not as a projection, but as a soul on their own journey. And perhaps, most painfully of all, love teaches us that no one can ever fully complete us. The person we seek to complete us is already within us. The partner outside can only awaken it. This realization is heavy, yet freeing. Because once you see it, you no longer cling with desperation. You love with openness. You allow the other person to be who they are, not who your unconscious wishes them to be. And that, my dear friend, is the beginning of real love. Not the fantasy of love, not the intoxication of projection, but the grounded, sacred love that sees the other clearly, flawed, fragile, human, and still says, I choose you. Love hurts, yes. But it hurts because it is holy. It reshapes the soul. It tears apart illusions so that truth can be born. And in this tearing, in this breaking, we grow closer, not only to others, but to ourselves. When we reflect on love through Jung's eyes, we begin to see that relationships are not accidents. They are mirrors, symbols, archetypes dancing before us. Each person we fall for carries a lesson. Some come to show us our strength. Others come to awaken our weakness. Some appear only for a season, yet their impact lasts for years. The tragedy is that most people do not recognize the lesson. They get lost in blaming, either themselves or the other. He betrayed me. She disappointed me. I was not enough. They were too much. The mind becomes trapped in judgment. But the soul whispers, it was never about blame. It was about awakening. Imagine two flames meeting. At first, they burn brighter together. But if one flame is too strong and the other too weak, imbalance arises. The brighter flame consumes the weaker, or the weaker suffocates in the glow of the stronger. This is how many relationships end, not because love was absent, but because balance was never found. And balance, Jung teaches us, comes only through self-knowledge. You cannot truly love another if you have not met yourself. For you will ask them to carry the weight of your unlived life, your unhealed wounds, your forgotten dreams. You will burden them with your projections, expecting them to be savior, healer, parent, friend, and lover all at once. But no human being can bear that much. They will fall short. They will disappoint. And in that disappointment, the wound of love opens again. Yet, this is not the end. This is the invitation. The invitation to turn inward, to ask, what am I really seeking? What part of me have I lost? What in them was simply a reflection of what I have not yet embraced in myself? This is why Jung believed that suffering in love is not only inevitable, it is necessary. Without it, we would remain blind to our own unconscious. Without it, we would never confront the hidden shadows or the forgotten treasures within. Think of love as a great alchemist. It mixes beauty with pain, joy with sorrow, tenderness with loss, and through this mixture, it refines us. It burns away illusions, leaving behind only what is real. And what is real? Not the perfect image we project onto another, but the raw presence of two souls walking side by side, sometimes close, sometimes far, sometimes together, sometimes apart, but always as mirrors of one another's journey. This is why true love requires courage. Not the courage to hold on tightly, but the courage to see clearly. To love not the fantasy, but the reality. To stay, not because of a dream, but because of a conscious choice. Many fear that once the illusion fades, love will fade with it. But Jung would say, if love depends only on illusion, it was never love to begin with. Real love begins when the illusion dies. When you see the other person in their humanness, in their flaws, their moods, their imperfections, and still your heart whispers, yes. There is a quiet beauty in this kind of love. It is less dramatic, less intoxicating perhaps, but infinitely deeper. It is a love that does not blind you, but awakens you. And yet, even this kind of love does not erase suffering. Because to love is to open your heart to loss. To love is to accept that one day, through distance, separation, or death, you may have to let go. This truth frightens many. But it is precisely this fragility that makes love sacred. A flower is beautiful because it blooms for a season, not forever. A sunset moves us because it fades. Love, too, is precious because it is fleeting. And here lies the paradox, love hurts not in spite of its beauty, but because of it. The deeper you love, the deeper the wound. But would you prefer a life without wounds, if it also meant a life without love? Jung would remind us that to shield yourself from pain is also to shield yourself from transformation. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the fire that shapes the soul. So when your heart breaks, let it break open. When tears come, let them cleanse you. When love wounds you, remember, the wound is not the end. It is the door. The door through which you enter a deeper relationship with yourself, with others, with life itself. My dear friend, if love has wounded you, do not close your heart. Do not say, never again. Instead, let the pain become a teacher. Let it carve wisdom into your soul. For every scar of love is also a mark of courage. It means you dared to open, you dared to feel, you dared to live. Remember this, love is not meant to make us comfortable. It is meant to make us whole. And wholeness is born through both joy and sorrow. So cherish the love that lifted you. Bless the love that broke you. And walk onward. Wiser, deeper, freer.